We are going live, going live.
We are live.
Yeah, we're live now. Yes, we're live now.
Well,
Welcome.
good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Carolina Retirement Planners Happy Half Hour. We come to you live every Thursday at 4:30, bringing you a half hour of what we hope is some fun and some financial wisdom each week. And I am Samantha Shukavage, Sam Shukavage, and with us is my father, Dave Shukavage, the founder and president of Carolina Retirement Planners. And with us, as always, behind the scenes is Ms. Amy Dresky, our director of client fun.
Hello. Hi. How are you guys today?
Doing very well. How are you doing, Amy?
Wonderful. You know what? I'm actually back. I was in the office this week and I feel like I've been away from my house for so long, even though it's just only been a couple of days, but it's been so weird to be away from here. But now I'm back and I'm like, it's so strange. But yeah. Oh, yeah. Hi.
Well, it's been nice to have you back in the office with
It was
us.
really nice to be there. Now I'm here and I'm like, what? But anyway, okay, I'll get back over here. Sorry.
We kind of got, for some of us, this home office thing, we got down pretty good. Works really well. So just, but
Hey,
see
Dad,
when she gets,
are you going to ask me what I'm drinking?
well, what are you drinking?
So as it is our happy half hour, a lot of times we end up just drinking, a normal water or tea, but today I am excited. My husband, as many of you know, is a brewer at Waterline Brewing, a local brewery in Wilmington, right underneath the Cape Fear Memorial Bridge. And they just put in they upgraded their brew system and to a new 40-barrel brew system. Don't ask me what that really means, but I know it means they can make a buku beer, way more beer than they ever could.
I think it's 4 times more than before. I think they had a 5-barrel system before.
Or a 10-barrel or whatever it is. I went in and saw it.
10 barrel to 44. So if you go down there, you can drink 4 times as much now and not feel guilt. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it's a beautiful new system. My husband slaved away hoisting these giant things into place, and they recently got their first batches of beers getting out there, and he brought me home a pink, you probably can't read this, but a pink lemonade gosa, and it is salty, it is bitter, it is tangy, it is very refreshing as we close out these nice summer days. So I am very much enjoying it. And if you have not been to Waterline Brewing, this is our official plug. You should get out there. They've got lots of live music, lots of food trucks, lots of vendor events. It's a really wonderful place to go.
We get his Kolsch, his new batch of Kolsch ready to drink yet?
I believe that they have now moved on to the new batch of Kolsch. Yes.
Okay.
It looks fancy. Wait, I'm going to show what I'm drinking then. I actually haven't been drinking for a while, like during the week, but I decided to indulge today because I am embracing fall, even though it's not fall. But look,
you're willing it into existence.
I know. I am like that person that loves pumpkin everything. So if I see it, I know. I had like pumpkin coffee, I think in July. As soon as it was announced and it was there, I was like, oh yeah. And I also brought one for like Kristen. I was like, this is happening. So yeah,
you know what
I'm that person.
You know what I really like pumpkin flavor?
Pie. What?
Pie.
Yeah, I like that too. Well, look at this is pumpkin pie porter. So you might like this too, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not. I would drink it year round. I'm that.
And while we have you here, Amy, it's always some kind of cool day. And today was a really cool day. And we had a wonderful time with all of your responses to our emails. So Amy, what day was it today?
Today is National Dog Walker Appreciation Day. And but there's always some kind of like fun holiday. And a lot of times it's like National, Appreciate Your Dog Day, or, dog this, dog that, blah, 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 blah. But it was Dog Walker Appreciation. And I was like, well, what can I spin on this? And I was like, let's have everybody tell us their favorite type of dog, whether it's a breed or a mutt or this or that. And then I'll take it one step further. And if you send a picture to me, I'll post it on our social media pages. And they have been coming in waves and waves and waves. And I have just been posting them. They're going to be going all night long. So instead of like just dumping them all at once, I've been trying to kind of, do a little bit here and there. So keep going to Facebook, any social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, all of it. I've just been putting all the pictures on there. So
thank you for sharing your amazing pups with us. We've had such a great time looking at them today. We just got a really cute one in that we're oohing and awing over. And so
the
check out
one. John, the Bloodhound. Yes. Oh, I know. They're also great. But that one was so great because it was teaching kids. That one is going to be posted after Happy Half Hour. But no, you can't see that one yet. Mm-hmm.
Take a moment and look through our page and oogle all the adorable puppers too.
Yes. And if anybody would like to send some, I'll be working a little after Happy Half Hour. So if you send some emails to me after Happy Half Hour, I will get them up. I promise. Just send them in. Send me your email, but we even posted a cat because I was like, I'm not going to deny anybody. So send those in. I'll get them up because I'm not going to deny anybody.
Bruce has joined us and said,
I'm going to go. I got work to do. See, I just love the animals. I got to go. Bye.
Bill has joined us. We like to say hi to folks. Our own Brenda has joined us, and Kristen, and good old Teresa is here.
That lady. She even sent one in.
Debbie, it's good to hear from you and Jean. Eric has joined us, and where did I leave off? Patrick, Fred, hello to you too, and Phil, John with his trusty bloodhound. I have not seen the picture yet. Paul, it's good to see you. He, as Paul says, it is the best Kolsch in town, and he's right. I love that Kolsch. And it's usually it's a relatively low alcohol, so you can drink more, Grace, nice to hear from you. And let's see, Lanny's also here. So we got a good crowd of folks, and Sam, what is our topic today?
Do you remember? Here? Oh, our topic today is it's a little bit more sober, but it's about what you need to know or things you need to be aware of. In the future, if you are married, what you need to be aware of if in fact one of you passes before the other, if you become a widower or widow.
It's one of our, I should say, sadder topics, but at the same time, it's a necessary one. And we just want to remind folks some of the things, not only some of the things you can do after someone passes, but I'm going to finish with some reminders for everybody while you're all alive, what you should be doing just to make sure things pass. And I'm going to go see if I can get my screen logged, fired up here. And there we go. So we're talking about widows and widowers. And it's kind of interesting because, we statistically, 80% of men die married. And 80% of women die single. So much of what we're talking about statistically is going to be, highlighting how to make it easier for the widows. But I'll tell you, we just this past week, we've had a widower, and last night at the course, and I gave a course at UNCW on retirement planning, and I met a gentleman there whose wife just passed away in the past week as well. So there's still 20% where this occurs, but they got a reminder that kind of maybe a reminder to the men out there that, hey, you're doing this for your loved one. More than likely, both of you are doing it, but men especially, you ought to be prepared, because statistically we go away first, and then passes from there. So a couple of things to talk about. First, if you have an IRA, a 401k, a 403b, something like that, and you pass away, most people leave it to their spouse. And most of the time when you die, your spouse takes it as a rollover. In other words, they take it out of your name and they put it in your spouse's name, and it becomes their IRA. It kind of falls under all the rules and all with their age. But there's a time when you don't want to do that.
Or you may not want to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, you may not. People need to pause and think, because if you're younger than 59 and a half, and you take one and you roll it over to your name, and you need to use some of that money, you're going to pay a 10% penalty on it, because now you took it out before you're 59 and a half. It's your IRA, and now you're too young to use it without penalty. However, and a lot of people don't know this, if you're instead choose to take it as an inherited IRA, and it's just the way you do the wording on the transfer paperwork. Instead of rolling it to your name, you take it as an inherited IRA there, and you are the spouse. There's no longer a penalty for taking the money out. And for instance, we had some years ago, we had one of my clients, been somewhere over 10 years, and her husband had cancer and passed away, and she was like 55, and we took his 401k, his IRAs, and we gave it to her as an inherited IRA, so then she could still have access. And then when she got to 59 and a half, we then rolled it over to her own name because it no longer was important. So just something for folks that are younger to think about this, how you want to take on that IRA, and understanding there's some other advantages, and come talk to us, or find someone you trust to talk to and research that if that's the case. So that's one of the things. Another thing is Social Security. And, you often ask, Sam, if what's the youngest someone can take Social Security?
62.
62. However, if your spouse dies, you can actually take their Social Security, begin a survivor benefit as young as age 60. However, if you do take it at 60, you're going to get less money, but you'll get it sooner. Now, there's cases where this can make a lot of sense. And what we did with some people is we said, hey, we had a case where a spouse had a really good salary, and was going to have a good Social Security on her own. So at age 60, she started her deceased husband's Social Security, and she collected it to age 70. And then meanwhile, her Social Security grew, and when she was 70, she turned it on. And so she was able to collect her deceased husband's for 10 years and let hers grow. So there's some strategies you can do, and there's some others too as well. Basically, if you decide to take what you are entitled to your spouse's, so the higher the two Social Securities, if your spouse dies before their full retirement age, and you wait to your full retirement age, you get their full retirement age amount. I'll tell you, the rules are complicated, and we have programs and all we can use and go through if this becomes one. If this happens. So God forbid that happens, contact someone, contact us, and we have some programs and experts we can make sure we do the most of it. So that's another one. Taxes, taxes.
Oh, taxes.
Uh, you
What
know,
what is it that they say, Dad?
they say that a widow has half the money and twice the taxes. Now, why does a widow have more taxes, Sam?
Because the tax, well, there's a number of reasons. The tax brackets are exactly half, and they usually need a comparable amount of income. They don't necessarily need half the income.
Just to give you an idea, let's say that you're making 80,000 a year in tax in income, even before the standard deductions. And I ran it through we have a little calculator we use to optimize our RMDs on IRAs, or not, to optimize Roth conversions on IRAs, and I used it here, and I said, if you were married and you had 80,000 in income, you would pay $6,081 in federal taxes a year on that 80,000 with today's tax tables. However, if one of you passes away as the other is single and they're collecting that 80,000 to live off, they would pay $10,368.
Wow.
So they would go from 6,000 in taxes to 10,000. So it's
Ouch.
big change. And that's why we often talk about doing Roth conversions while you're married, and you can still get the lower tax brackets and get as much money from an IRA into a Roth and things like that, so when you, God forbid, one of you ends up single, that you can use the Roth money tax-free and minimize the effects, and basically have more money to enjoy in your life. So another one, boy, these are not the happy.
Another thing is, once you are of age, you would assume your spouse's IRAs. And then once you are of RMD age, which is 72 now, you would be, culpable for the RMDs of that entire account in your single tax bracket, which is one of those things that would drive you up. Even if you said, I didn't need the income, for some people, they don't have that choice.
Yeah, and even if you don't need the income, the RMDs will come at you. You have to pay the tax on it, and still end up with your family, if you pass it on, having less money than you would had you paid the tax at a lower rate and put it into a Roth IRA beforehand. So another one. Beneficiary updates is something else you want. If your spouse has passed, usually what happens, long ago you had some kind of policy, could be a bank account, could be an annuity, could be an IRA account. And most IRA accounts say, I'm gonna make my spouse the beneficiary, and then if they are not there, it's gonna be one of the kids or something like that. And if you die, that IRA passes to your spouse or to the surviving person. One thing they should do is go to each of those accounts and double check that all the other beneficiaries are correct, that you weren't leaving it to maybe a child that passed away, or they put the wrong person on, or they don't have the beneficiary designation, something. So it's always good to double check everything when a spouse passes, to be sure that everything's okay with that. Because boy, there can be some problems if that's not the case. And you still have the chance to change that if it's in most of those accounts, if it's necessary. Now, a lot of times when, let's say you bought a home years ago for $200,000, And over these years, it's grown, it's gone up in value, and it's now worth $700,000. Well, if you and your spouse sell a home, each of you get forgiveness on 250,000 in capital gains. Because when that house went up in value, that's called a capital gain. And the government says each person gets 250. So it's 250 for a single person, 500 for a spouse, for a married couple. Now, if your spouse dies, you're now single. However, there is a 2-year rule where you can still sell this house at this higher amount in 2 years. And in this case, you still get that $500,000 deduction or forgiveness for the capital gains. So just to keep that in mind, you may want to move to a different house or move to a different place or something. There's a big advantage to getting that sale done before 2 years are up, because you'd hate to pay, capital gains, which will be, 15 to 20% or 20 to 25%, depending where you are on that state and federal. So another reason.
In the chat, I see that somebody was right ahead of us.
Yeah, that's another big ouch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They anticipated this slide.
They did.
Another thing is it's called the stepped up in basis. And this applies, say, to stocks that you buy that are not in an IRA. They're just plain non-IRA, non-qualified money. And let's say in 1984, you bought Apple, your husband bought Apple, and now he passed away. Well, you can imagine how much more that's worth, how far it's gone up. If it's all done right and titled right, it could pass to you with no capital gains. You get the stepped up basis. We had that with one client, passed away. It's probably been 5 years, but they had a lot of money in their company stock. They retired from a big corporation, and they had hundreds of thousands of dollars in stock that had been given to them, and it was worth a bunch. And we were able to pass it on to their spouse with no capital gains. So you want to look at your accounts, be sure that the ownership and all is correct, so that can happen, that they can get a full step up. Usually they can get always at least half, but there's more than we can go into the details here. That'd be a whole happy half hour on just this, but that's something else to keep in mind.
So basically you're saying this is like, we bought this when the Apple commercial debuted during the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, you remember that great Apple
I do. I'm old. I mean, people don't realize how old I am. I'm grandma. I remember that. I remember.
Yeah, it was that girl with those red shorts, that athletic looking girl swings that hammer and throws.
It was slightly terrifying, but memorable. Yeah.
It played once.
Stuck in my mind. It's burned in my brain.
One of the most famous commercials in the country. Reverse mortgages, just a little bit here. Reverse mortgages are tricky. You got to be careful if you do a reverse mortgage. They've improved. A lot more government regulation has come in. There's more competition. They're used to be kind of sold to people that don't deserve it. But sometimes, if used for the right reason, it could be right for a retiree. We have a client who lives in one of the golf course communities near us, and she really liked it there. She had lots of friends and all, but her husband passed. She didn't really have enough income, with the drop in pension, Social Security, to stay there. But we were able to do a reverse mortgage, or she was able to go to a reverse mortgage broker and get a reverse mortgage that gave her now enough income so she could stay there. Now, there won't be as much money in the house, but it was what was important to her. Our advice is, we like to say, if people want to do that, bring the reverse mortgage stuff to us, or we always like to check it because reverse mortgage people are selling reverse mortgages, and we know some good ones and they're good ones, but they're still selling reverse mortgages. So we like to be sure it's still the right thing for you. You really shouldn't take money out of your house to invest somewhere. You should use it for, something that's important. So that's another piece. And finally, here is, if you're all still alive, here are some other things that you should think about to prepare. One is, even though you're both alive, look at your beneficiary designations. Go through your bank accounts, brokerage accounts, life insurance policies. Worst thing to do is have your ex-wife be the beneficiary, and you thought your will was going to leave it to your more current longtime wife. And no, the beneficiary designation will beat your will. So you want to be sure they're all okay.
And also just to piggyback on the beneficiary designations, because it kind of goes in this category-ish. If there's one spouse who handles the finances or has handles most of the accounts, it's really helpful to, in your lockbox, to keep a list of everything that you have everywhere. So that if and when you pass, your other spouse isn't struggling to find out where these assets are. That
very good idea,
where they exist, to keep everything in a consolidated place.
A little standard operating procedure in case of death, break glass, and here's all the things you need to know.
Exactly.
The other thing, remember, you want to pay taxes at the lowest rate. When you're still filing jointly, the rates are lower than they will be. And so you may want to not let RMDs get you, but do the Roth conversions and take advantage of that while you're both around. The other thing is, when it comes time to make decisions on Social Security, remember, the surviving spouse inherits the higher of the two Social Securities. So this often makes sense for the spouse that's probably got the higher Social Security to wait as long as possible to start it, wait to 70, because they're just not doing that for themselves, they're doing it for both of them. Because, if, let's say, the man dies, they may die at 75 and the lady goes on to 95. That's 20 more years and more money if they waited. So you got to plan for that, and that's what we do with income plans. And also, if you're getting a pension, you're making a decision, how do I take it? You want to be sure, usually you want to take it make sure you're taking it right and you've accounted. If you're not getting 100% survivor, you want to be sure there's enough money there should you pass that your spouse is okay. And all this kind of comes in the retirement income plan. That plan should kind of have laid out when you took, and when we do it, we routinely kill somebody off early, stress test it, will you be okay, and so there's a lot of things while you're both alive you want to do for preparations. The other thing we'll mention, one of our clients emailed us, it was over a year ago, and there is a modernwidowsclub.org, and there is a Cape Fear chapter. If you go to modernwidowsclub.org, I did today to be sure it was still there, and you go there and it says find it, you put in North Carolina, there's 2 chapters in North Carolina, one of them is here. You can get in contact with them and get to know them, and they help people with grief, and some people work as to kind of help new widows cope, a transition and cope with it. So nice group, appears to be a nice group. Want to make sure everyone has that in mind too. Okay, oh boy, we used the whole time. So if you're there and you have a question, there's 2 things you can do. One, if you go to carolina15.com and you can book a 15-minute phone call with us to talk about it. You can always just call our number and say, hey, I want to talk to David or Sam about this. If you're, clients know they can always do that. If you're here as a visitor and you want some of this info, there's some info to get in touch with us. So, and I'm sure Amy usually puts it into the notes that you're seeing there too. So that's our That is our
It's already
Widows and
there.
Widowers special report. You know, I hope that was useful and get some things going in here as to what you haven't done or need to check on. So Sam, what is next? I think we got a happier part now.
We do. We have our wine drawing. So each week we raffle off 2 bottles of wine delivered directly to your door from the newly reopened Fermental Bottle Shop in the Cargo District in downtown Wilmington. You should go check them out in person, but they will deliver these bottles right to your door, so you don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to leave your living room to get them. And if you didn't enter this week and you want to know how to enter, if you are a member of Facebook, each week we put out like a little event of our upcoming topic, and you just have to click I'm coming to that event and it'll get you in here. And if you share that with a friend, it'll get you in here again. If you are on our email list, we'll shoot you out an email once a week to let you know what our upcoming topic is. And if you respond to that email, we will get you in here as well. And our winner this week,
My drum roll.
2 bottles of wine delivered directly to your door, is, oh, I think I saw them on. It's Ellen and John Paul E. So congratulations, Ellen and John Paul. You are our wine winners.
Congratulations. Yay. Yay. Wonderful. My hair's
And for everybody else, please keep entering. We love to give away wine, and we're going to
we
keep
do.
doing it.
Congratulations.
Okay. Well, I think that's it. You don't have to go away, Amy. You can stay on for our goodbye. You know, they like to see all the pretty
I don't know.
faces when we're, you know. So with everyone, we will see you next year. Next week, Sam and I are actually at a conference. We have to find a guest for next week.
Well,
So next week we'll have somebody.
we may still be able to do it next week. I have to look at the schedule with the time change and everything.
Okay.
We'll be in Dallas.
Well, yeah.
so
All right. Yeah. Well, we can figure something out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
keep you
somebody's on the
posted.
phone. Somebody's talking in my back.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll keep
We'll
you
figure
posted.
something out. Yeah.
Everybody have a great weekend.
Yeah. Thanks so much, everyone.
See you
Cheers.
soon.
Thank you. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.